Many of us have heard the saying, money is freedom, power is liberation. It feels like if you had more money, you would have no worries and freedom would come easily. But is that really true? Can money and power really bring the liberation we desire? One person who completely denied these things was Epictetus, a Roman Stoic philosopher. Interestingly, he came from the lowest class of society at that time, Greek slave. One would think that a slave could not possibly understand freedom, but Epictetus's philosophy proves otherwise. He not only understood true freedom, but he lived and taught it, and it can even be said that he was one of the freest people in human history, despite being imprisoned by the harshness of life. His teachings attracted not only the common people, but also the powerful people like the Roman emperors. And over the centuries, his Stoic philosophy continues to inspire many people. Do money and power really set us free? Think about it. If you don't have money, don't you think society will put barriers on you? This may be partly true. If you don't have money, you may be limited in some aspects of life. But will money and power completely free you from all worries? Look back at history. Epictetus is a clear example that you can lose many things in life. But the most important thing is how you deal with those losses. He had no money, no power, but he understood the freedom within. Stoic philosophy helps us realize that freedom is not something that comes from the outside, but something that is created from within. It's not about how much you have, but how you deal with life and its challenges. Where does true control and freedom lie? Epictetus once taught a lesson that if you just absorb it, can change your outlook on life forever. He said that life is like a maze, where not every turn is yours to make. You don't always get to decide how the walls will surround you. However, what made him one of the freest men was not his ability to break down those walls, but how he dealt with the maze itself. Epictetus came up with an immortal rule. All problems in this world fall into two categories. First is what we can control. The other is what we have absolutely no control over. Simple, yet incredibly powerful. This is the key to freeing yourself from the burden of meaningless anxiety. Stop for a moment. Do you see? This classification is not just an abstract theory, but a guide to help you face all the troubles of life. The rainy day, you're standing in a crowd of people rushing by. No one likes rain, and neither do you. Your shirt is wet, your hair is messy, your shoes are soaked, and you think the whole world is against you. But think about it. Can you control that rain? The answer is of course no. And why waste your precious energy on getting angry about things you can't change? That's what Epictetus wants to remind us. He's not telling us to suffer in resignation, but to learn to distinguish between what's worth our emotional investment and what should just be let go like a passing breeze. Now let's talk about what you can control. Your emotions, your actions, and your attitudes. When you step outside into the rain, instead of getting upset, you can choose to calmly accept it. Actually, the rain is not that bad if you think about it differently. Imagine you were a child who loved to dance in the cool drops of water, who saw the rain as a miracle of nature. You have the power to choose how to feel, instead of letting your mind be constrained by the impositions of adults, of society. This is true power, not controlling the outside world, but mastering your inner self. We are often too busy chasing after things that are beyond our control, like other people's opinions, financial fluctuations, or unexpected situations. But if you keep worrying about those things, you will only sink deeper into the pool of anxiety. The important thing here is to realize, every surprise that comes your way can become a challenge for you to train your mind. You can't control everything, but you can absolutely control yourself. It's the key to freedom. Another example, you are at work, and suddenly your boss makes an unfair decision. Your first emotion might be anger or disappointment. Stop and consider. Can you change your boss's mind? Probably not. But you can control your reaction, how you deal with that injustice. You can choose to learn from the situation, use it to grow and develop, rather than sit there and blame yourself. This is the choice that Epictetus emphasizes. Not everything in life is in your control, but how you react to it is entirely up to you. We often get caught up in an emotional spiral when faced with difficulty. But it is important to remember, you can control how you deal with those difficulties. When you learn to let go of the things that are beyond your control, and focus on what you can actually change, you will feel the freedom that Stoic philosophy brings. Epictetus's story teaches us that even if you are a slave deprived of everything, you can still control how you react to the difficulties in life. When you realize this, you will find true freedom. This is the essence of Stoic philosophy, focusing on what you can control and letting go of worrying about what you cannot change. Ultimately, remember, true freedom is not the absence of difficulties, but the ability to stand up to those challenges with peace of mind. Where does power really lie? We always hear that power is the key to freedom. The more power you have, the more freedom you have to do what you want. But stop for a moment and ask yourself, is that really true? Imagine you are the CEO of a large corporation. You have money, you have the power to make decisions, but every morning you wake up at 5 a.m., work until late at night to meet all the demands from shareholders, partners, and employees. Your life seems to be the dream of many people. You don't have a single moment for yourself. So are you truly free? This is what the Stoic philosopher Epictetus saw thousands of years ago when he was a slave living in the court of Emperor Nero. He saw the most powerful people in the Roman Empire, those who stood at the top of society, but they were not free people. On the contrary, they were imprisoned by the ambitions and pressures that power brought. From there, Epictetus realized that true power does not come from controlling others or from wealth, but from controlling yourself, controlling your mind, behavior, and your emotions. Have you ever noticed that the more power you have, the more dependent you are on others? Rich and powerful people cannot decide everything on their own. They are bound by expectations, responsibilities, and sometimes fear. Fear of losing power, fear of not gaining the consensus of those around them. Look at great leaders, from politicians to the heads of large corporations. Are they truly free? They have to always calculate and consider every step, every decision, because each decision can affect millions of other people. Therefore, sometimes they are no longer their own masters, but become slaves to the expectations of others. Greater the power, the greater the responsibility. And the greater the responsibility, the more your freedom is limited. You may have the right to decide, but you do not have the right to refuse the responsibility that power brings. That is what Epictetus understood. External power does not liberate us. It only brings more dependence. Where does true freedom lie? Epictetus, though a slave, was one of the freest people. He did not need power to liberate himself. He found freedom in the ability to control his own mind and action. He was not governed by circumstances or things beyond his control. He did not need to please anyone but himself. Freedom that Epictetus found was freedom from within. He was not subject to ambition, not obsessed with pleasing others. He focused on controlling what he could control: his emotions, his behavior, and his thoughts. Everything else he accepted as it was. This is something that many people today do not realize. You can have everything in the world, but if you cannot control yourself, you are not truly free. True freedom comes from letting go of the things you cannot control. Epictetus had no external power, but he did not need it. He was not subject to the judgment of others, not obsessed with success or failure. When you let go of those things, you will no longer be afraid and anxious. You will find freedom from within. Imagine a day when you no longer have to worry about what others think of you, no longer have to struggle to meet society's expectations. You will live as a truly free person. That is the true power that Stoic philosophy brings, the ability to control yourself, let go of the unimportant things, and live your life the way you want. Epictetus realized this long ago, and now his philosophy resonates through the centuries, reminding us that true power lies not in possessing, but in letting go and controlling yourself. Thank you for watching the video. See you in the next videos.